We are taught that intelligence should be shared, that the smartest people in the room are the ones speaking, debating, and proving their knowledge. But what if the opposite is true? What if the smartest people are the ones who say the least? Schopenhauer understood that intelligence is not about showing off. It's about knowing when to stay silent. The more you speak, the more you reveal. The more you reveal, the easier you are to predict, control, and undermine. But the one who listens, observes, and waits holds the real power. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It allows you to gain information without giving any away. It makes others underestimate you while they expose their own intentions. And when the time is right, the silent thinker speaks, not to prove their intelligence, but to shape the final outcome. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, those who stay silent hold the greatest influence. Let's break it down. Most people believe that intelligence is meant to be displayed. They think that the smartest person in the room is the one who speaks the most, corrects others, and dominates discussions. But Schopenhauer saw this as a dangerous illusion. Intelligence, when used carelessly, does not grant power. It invites resistance. The moment people recognize someone as more intelligent than them, they become defensive, competitive, or even hostile. A truly wise person does not waste energy trying to prove their intelligence. They understand that knowledge is only useful when applied strategically. Talking too much exposes one's thoughts, intentions, and weaknesses. The more a person speaks, the easier they are to predict. And once they are predictable, they are easy to counter, manipulate, or discredit. Those who constantly display their intelligence often believe they are earning respect. But more often, they are creating silent enemies. Nobody enjoys being made to feel inferior, and a person who consistently proves themselves to be the smartest in the room will find themselves isolated. They become a target, a rival, or an annoyance. Even if their ideas are correct, people will resist them out of pride alone. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence should be guarded, not advertised. The wisest individuals do not feel the need to impress others with their knowledge. They let people underestimate them, choosing when to reveal what they know. Power does not come from speaking. It comes from knowing when to stay silent. The world rewards those who are careful with their words, not those who waste them. And in the end, it is not the one who speaks the most who holds control. It is the one who listens, observes, and waits for the perfect moment to act. Words are like currency. The more you spend, the less valuable they become. Those who speak constantly dilute their own influence, turning their thoughts into background noise. But those who speak rarely, who weigh their words carefully, command attention when they do. Schopenhauer understood that silence is not just the absence of speech. It is a tool for control. The person who speaks less forces others to lean in, to wonder what they are thinking, to fill in the gaps themselves. When someone says little, their words carry more weight. People assume that what is finally spoken must be important, well thought out, and worth listening to. By contrast, those who talk excessively are ignored, their words losing impact simply because they are too frequent. Beyond perception, silence also shifts power in any conversation. The one who remains quiet holds the advantage, allowing others to reveal more than they should. Most people dislike silence. It makes them uncomfortable, pressuring them to speak, explain, or justify themselves. The wise individual understands this and uses it to gain information while giving away nothing in return. Speaking less also prevents self-inflicted damage. The more a person talks, the more likely they are to contradict themselves, expose their weaknesses, or reveal their intentions. Restraint allows for careful calculation, ensuring that when they do speak, their words are precise and unshakable. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence is not just about what one knows. It is about how one uses that knowledge. Those who control their speech control the flow of conversation. They dictate the pace, the tone, and ultimately, the outcome. Power does not belong to the loudest voice in the room. It belongs to the quiet observer who speaks only when the time is right. The moment a person reveals their intelligence, they invite opposition. People do not like to feel inferior, and nothing threatens their sense of self more than someone who outshines them. Schopenhauer understood that displaying intelligence openly often creates enemies, not admiration. The smartest individuals avoid unnecessary competition by allowing others to believe they are superior. When someone asserts their intelligence, they unintentionally provoke two kinds of responses: resistance or rivalry. Resistance comes from those who feel intellectually challenged but lack the ability to compete. These individuals may dismiss, discredit, or undermine the intelligent person, not because they are wrong, but because they refuse to acknowledge someone smarter than themselves. Rivalry, on the other hand, arises in those who see intelligence as a battleground. They are not content to let another person be perceived as more capable. They will argue, challenge, and attempt to prove themselves at every opportunity. The danger is that competition wastes energy. A person who is constantly defending their intelligence is distracted from their true goals. Instead of advancing strategically, they become entangled in meaningless battles of ego. Those who feel the need to prove themselves are easily drawn into conflicts that benefit no one. Schopenhauer believed that the wise do not seek validation. They do not waste time trying to demonstrate their superiority. Instead, they observe, learn, and act only when necessary. By appearing unthreatening, they move freely, unhindered by rivalry or resistance. True intelligence is not about being recognized. It is about knowing when to remain unseen. The smartest people understand that revealing too much invites unnecessary obstacles. Sometimes, the best way to win is to let others believe they have already won. Most people are desperate to be heard. They want to express their thoughts, prove their knowledge, and gain validation. But in doing so, they expose far more than they realize. Schopenhauer understood that silence is not just a way to conceal intelligence. It is a method of uncovering the true nature of others. The moment one stops speaking, the balance of power shifts. Most people cannot tolerate silence. They rush to fill the empty space, often without thinking. They reveal their emotions, intentions, insecurities, and weaknesses simply because they cannot bear the discomfort of an unspoken moment. A single pause can make a person explain themselves unnecessarily, justify their actions, or even confess something they had no intention of sharing. In debates and negotiations, silence is a weapon. Those who speak first often reveal their position too soon, giving away leverage. But the silent observer gathers information, waiting for the right moment to respond. They let others exhaust themselves with words, expose their vulnerabilities, and contradict their own arguments. When they finally do speak, they do so with complete awareness of the other person's mindset, making their words more precise and impactful. Even in everyday conversations, silence draws out the truth. People assume a lack of response means agreement, curiosity, or a lack of understanding. In all three cases, they are encouraged to speak more, further revealing their thoughts. The wise person listens, not just to the words spoken, but to the emotions, fears, and unspoken assumptions behind them. Schopenhauer saw silence as a mirror. People project themselves onto it without realizing. Those who master the art of listening gain far more than those who constantly speak. The less one reveals, the more others expose themselves. There is a difference between being unaware and appearing unaware. Schopenhauer recognized that one of the greatest tactical advantages a person can have is to let others believe they are uninformed, naive, or even foolish. The less of a threat someone appears to be, the more freely others speak, act, and expose themselves. When people assume they are the smartest person in the room, they lower their guard. They speak without restraint, believing they have nothing to hide from someone who doesn't understand. They simplify their reasoning, exaggerate their knowledge, and reveal their true thoughts without realizing they are being observed. The individual who remains silent and plays along, nodding and listening, collects far more information than they would have by engaging directly. Strategic ignorance is not about deception. It is about positioning. When someone is underestimated, they are not seen as a rival or a threat. This allows them to navigate situations undetected, gathering knowledge and assessing intentions without interference. By contrast, the moment someone reveals their full intelligence, they invite scrutiny. They become the subject of resistance, competition, and attempts at manipulation. Even in negotiations, this strategy proves invaluable. A person who asks seemingly simple or naive questions forces the other party to explain themselves. The more they explain, the more leverage they give away. The wisest individuals understand that appearing to know less than they do is often the most effective way to gain control. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence is not just about knowing. It is about knowing when not to reveal what one knows. The greatest power often belongs to those who let others believe they have none, all while quietly controlling the game from the shadows. Emotions make people vulnerable. The moment someone reacts emotionally, they lose control of the situation. They reveal what frustrates them, what excites them, and what unsettles them. Schopenhauer understood that true intelligence is not just about knowledge. It is about self-mastery. The smartest individuals do not just stay silent to conceal their thoughts. They stay silent to conceal their emotions. Most people react instinctively. When they feel attacked, they defend. When they feel misunderstood, they explain. When they feel disrespected, they argue. But every emotional response gives the other person an advantage. It reveals personal triggers, making it easy to provoke, manipulate, or disarm them. The one who stays silent, who does not react, creates uncertainty in the minds of others. They become unreadable, unpredictable, and therefore untouchable. Silence shifts power in any conflict. A person expecting an argument is thrown off balance when met with neutrality. An aggressor who receives no reaction often becomes frustrated, escalating their own emotions while the silent individual remains in control. The absence of emotional response forces others to question themselves, to doubt their approach, to wonder whether their words have had any impact at all. In negotiations, silence is a test of patience. The one who waits the longest forces the other to make the first concession. In personal relationships, silence denies the satisfaction of validation or confrontation, making others reconsider their own actions. Schopenhauer believed that silence is not just a tactic, it is a shield. The moment one stops giving away emotional control, they stop being controlled by others. The smartest individuals do not just listen to words, they observe reactions. And the one who remains still, who absorbs rather than reacts, dictates the terms of any interaction. Timing is everything. It is not just about what is said, it is about when it is said. Schopenhauer understood that the smartest individuals do not rush to speak, argue, or prove themselves. They wait, letting others exhaust their thoughts, expose their motives, and reveal their positions first. And when the time is right, they speak last, securing the final word and the final influence. The one who speaks last holds the advantage. In debates, they address all previous arguments without allowing room for rebuttal. In negotiations, they make the final offer, shaping the outcome with full awareness of the other party's position. The last voice in a conversation lingers in the mind, framing the conclusion and leaving the strongest impression. Impatience is the downfall of many. Most people rush to speak, eager to assert their knowledge, defend their stance, or seize control of the moment. But in doing so, they weaken their position. They show their hand too soon, revealing their thoughts before fully understanding the situation. The person who listens, observes, and calculates before speaking ensures that their words are not just heard, but remembered. Even in casual conversations, those who speak last dictate the tone. The final remark determines whether a discussion ends in agreement, tension, or uncertainty. A well-placed silence before a final statement creates a sense of authority, making even simple words carry weight. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence is not just measured by knowledge, but by restraint. The wisest individuals do not compete for attention. They let others talk first, allowing them to reveal everything. And when they finally do speak, they do so with precision, purpose, and undeniable influence, securing control without ever needing to demand it.